Hi there, I'm Ben, and in this video, I'll show you how we built a no-code AI SEO SaaS in less than 6 months that's generated us over $300,000 in revenue. Now, we've sold this solution to more than 30 companies by now, including one of the top 5 payment platforms in the world. Now, I'm not sharing this to brag. I'm sharing this to show you that we are truly living in revolutionary times where people like me, without coding skills, can now build powerful products and businesses in months using AI and no-code tools. And in this video, I'll show you a full demo of the solution, a breakdown of the setup in N8N, the lessons we learned while building this, and explain you why I believe an AI automation agency is one of the best paths towards an AI SaaS at the moment. Now, you might have seen my SEO agent video a few months ago. Since then, we've optimized the system a lot, and our platform can now be self-served by customers, and it does SEO and tech audits. It analyzes and optimizes your existing site content. It can do deep research and generate entire content strategies. It generates intent-based content for every part of the funnel with keyword research. It automatically links bottom, middle, and top of funnel content to drive conversions. It automatically posts on your website, complete with FAQs, tables, and images. And we've created solutions for e-commerce, SaaS, local businesses, and service providers. Now, if you don't know me yet, I'm Ben. I got into AI in 2023. I now run an AI agency, an AI SaaS, and a community with founders, professionals, and builders active in the AI space. And if you're a business looking to adopt solutions like these into your business, you can also book us in for a free call in the description below. So I've broken this video down into 3 sections. First, I'll give you a bit of an overview of what we've built, the strategy behind our system, and some of the results we've seen for our clients. Also because we've seen that many people are very skeptical about using AI for SEO. So it's good to see some of the results of actual clients. Then I'll go over the demo and a full breakdown of the system. Now, the main user interface or dashboard for the clients is in Airtable, and the backend or all the automations run on N8N. It's entirely done with no code, but the system is quite complex. I can show you the entire workflow here. And as it is quite complex, I try to simplify the system a bit through this diagram here. And then lastly, we'll cover quickly what I explained before, which is why I think AI automation agencies are in such a good and interesting position to eventually transition into an AI SaaS or a productized service. So if you're interested in this, make sure to stick with me until the end. Also, we will be giving away a small part of this automation inside of my community. So if you're interested in that, make sure to check it out. So let me first start by giving you a bit of an overview. So first of all, to which kind of clients do we sell this solution? First of all, but probably not surprising, we sell it to lots of SEO agencies who can use our solution to serve multiple clients. We also work with quite some e-commerce companies, some local businesses, and some SaaS and even enterprise companies. And we've basically developed 4 types of solutions because for each of these companies, the SEO requirements and the strategy behind the system is a bit different. So we've basically developed 4 different types of solutions. So we have an e-com SEO agency in a box, that's how we call it, which is optimized for e-commerce, of course. Then we have a SaaS SEO agency in a box. We have a local business solution and a service provider solution. Now, in this video, I'm going to focus on the e-com SEO agency in a box. I might cover this very quickly, but I don't want to make this a 4-hour video. So I'll mostly focus it on e-com. So what are some of the results we've seen? As said, we've sold this now to 35 clients by now, and we've seen the initial results coming in. Now, the majority of our clients have actually come in the last 2 months. So we don't have data on all these companies yet, but we do have some data on companies we started at the end of last year with. And as you can see, for most of these companies, impressions and clicks grew. Now, you should always take this with a little bit of a grain of salt because there are other factors impacting impressions and clicks, for example, seasonal changes, etc. And the most important of any SEO solution in the end, especially for companies like e-commerce, is to actually drive conversions, right? And make more sales, right? And that's the great thing. Most of these businesses have seen an actual increase in conversions during the time they've worked with us. And I think it's really the result of the strategy behind our system, which I'll get to in a second. And the usage cost for running this entire system is actually really cheap. So most of the costs come from fixed cost for the N8N instance and for Airtable subscription, and only max $10 a month on API credits on OpenAI or whatever, because we actually mostly use Google Gemini, the free models, and only use the expensive models or the paid models when we really need to. So these companies can literally generate hundreds or even thousands of articles for probably less than $100 a month. Now, we generally don't recommend companies, especially who haven't done SEO or don't have a large volume of articles already, to generate thousands of articles in month one. It should be a gradual increase, but cost is not a limiting factor in this system. Now, for the business model, we call this business model, we offering a service as a software model, not to be confused with a software as a service, the traditional SaaS model. Now, what's the difference? We still have some customization required to be able to implement this into a new company, right? So in general, this takes us between 1 to 3 days, sometimes a bit longer if we need to do some more customizations. But in general, we try to optimize the system to adjust for the tone of voice of the specific company, to connect it to their CMS and website. And sometimes we do some other customizations. But because we still have some customization required from our end, and as this sort of software almost replaces a service provider like an SEO agency, I think it's a good way to describe this type of model. Now, we are considering moving into a full-blown SaaS over the upcoming weeks and months. But that's the business model at the moment. And I'll go more in depth about these business models at the end of the video. Now, for the strategy behind this system, there's basically three important points and three sort of pillars this system is based upon. So first of all, we highly believe in the bottom-up approach to the content strategy versus a keyword research-based approach. Because in the end, SEO should be done to drive more conversions, to drive more purchases, and not just to get more traffic, right? And in our experience, a bottom-up approach to the content strategy is far more effective to drive conversions for a company. Now, if you're not interested in this, you can also click forward to the actual demo, but I'll give you a quick overview of the strategy behind our system. So how does the bottom-up approach work? Basically, you first have to understand bottom funnel, middle funnel, and top of funnel type content. So bottom funnel type content is where the conversions happen, right? It's where usually buyers, let's take e-commerce as an example, are about to buy. So let's say we have a supplement brand and we sell all kinds of different supplements. Example of the bottom funnel for an e-com could be just the product pages, right? So we have a magnesium supplement, a zinc supplement, where you can actually buy. That would be the bottom funnel content. And of course, that's where we actually drive the conversions, right? So in our system, the first step is to really optimize and rank these bottom funnel pages as well as possible on Google to drive the most amount of conversions. Next step from there is to generate middle of the funnel content that links back to the bottom of the funnel content. Right now, middle of the funnel content you can think of as prospects looking to buy, right, a specific product. So if again we take that magnesium supplement as an example, middle of the funnel content could be best magnesium supplements, best magnesium brands, this magnesium brand versus this magnesium brand. All these types of search queries are people that are looking for a little bit more information, but they're almost ready to buy, right? So that's the way our system is designed. We take all of the product pages of a website, we generate ideas from each of these product pages for middle of the funnel content and make articles for each one that automatically links back to these bottom funnel pages to drive conversions, right? And this is really where you want to double down. I think also in the AI age is really, you want to be as strong as possible in this middle of the funnel and bottom of the funnel content, because these are transactional intent or commercial intent based searches or queries, right? And based on when we have this middle of the funnel content, from there we do the same thing for the next layer, which is top of the funnel content. Now, top of the funnel content is informational intent. So it's people trying to look for more information. They might not be ready to buy yet. So for the example of magnesium, you could think of something like, what is magnesium? What are the benefits of magnesium? Why should I take magnesium? These could be examples of top of funnel content. Now, again, in this system, we make sure that each of these top of the funnel content links back to the middle of the funnel content, which links back to the bottom of the funnel content. So we always have that chain ready to, again, drive conversions instead of having just some random top of funnel article that doesn't link back to actually drive conversions. And second of all, many companies focus a lot on top of the funnel content to drive more traffic and awareness. We believe in today's age and in the future world, especially with AI, you're not going to generate awareness through top of funnel content that ranks on Google, right? Awareness is created on other channels in today's day and age through Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, pick your channel, but you're not going to be driving a lot of awareness through Google search, right? So in our opinion, this top of funnel layer is mostly to build authority on Google, right? Google's crawler will crawl this content. And if you have this top of funnel informational content available, it will make sure that Google ranks you as an authority on the subject, right? On the subject of magnesium, for example, in this use case. But you're not going to drive a lot of awareness to your brand to this type of content. And again, that's why the keyword research-based approach is not ideal in today's age and in the future age of SEO, we believe. A good example of this is HubSpot, who've put a lot of resources over the last years into top of funnel content like skyscraper, long form, top of funnel articles. And in the last months and years, they've seen a huge decline in actual results from SEO because all this top of funnel content sort of dilutes what the actual sort of bottom funnel of this company is, right? And it affects the results for these types of companies. So that comes back a little bit here to pillar 3, right? Focus on commercial intent, right? So it's really important in our experience, in our opinion, to really double down on the bottom funnel and middle funnel content, especially in the AI age. Because the third factor there is more and more of the search of informational intent is going to be taken over by AI search, right? Think of yourself, you probably already use AI quite a lot, right? When would you ask something to ChatGPT and when would you type it into Google? Most likely, if you use AI or ChatGPT, you'd probably use it for informational type queries, right? For subjects you don't know a lot about yet, right? You might use ChatGPT to find some more information on that topic, not go to Google, right? But if you're looking to buy something, you're most likely still going to Google to actually make a transaction, right? Or to figure out reviews, etc. Right? So that's why we believe this top of funnel layer is mostly to build that authority for Google, but not to drive awareness and traffic. Right. So really doubling down on these commercial intent type articles. And then the second pillar, really important, is we highly believe in context and intent-based SEO. Now, what do we mean with that? It's in the end, we're trying to make articles that answer the context and the intent behind a user query that someone types into Google as much and as concise and clear as possible. And there is sometimes a disconnect between what someone types into Google and what the actual intent behind that query is. And the better that article is optimized for the intent behind the query, the better it will rank in Google. And AI is actually really good at understanding the intent behind those queries, so it can really help us write really good articles, right? And this also comes back to some objections we get a lot is, does AI content actually rank? And it's a myth that it doesn't. It does, as long as it's high quality and it's intent driven, and as long as it has a good EEAT score, right? Which I won't go over in detail right now. Now, that's a very, very short summary of the strategy behind our system. Now, let me show you a demo so you can see this in more detail. So let me get to the demo. So before showing you the demo, very quickly, some lessons we learned while building this system that I think might be interesting to you if you're learning automations or building automations yourself. So what we've learned is when we're automating these large workflows or complex processes, which SEO is, what we've learned is by far the most efficient way to actually make this reliable for businesses is by still putting a human in charge of the process. Now, AI agents are getting a lot of hype, and with reason, right? There are definitely very interesting use cases for AI agents, which I'll get to in a second. But when we have a very large workflow like this, and we try to put an AI agent in charge of this, it's just going to become far too unreliable to actually make it useful for a business use case like this, right? So what we've seen and what we've learned is by far the most efficient way is still having a human in charge. And we do that through usually Airtable dashboards. And we string together lots of these smaller automations where a human, after each of these automations has run, can check if everything goes well, can adjust something if necessary before taking the next action, right? And this is the way we've seen it works best for clients and to actually make these kinds of systems, especially these larger ones, reliable at scale. Now, there are definitely use cases for AI agents. I think the main use cases for AI agents at the moment are, first of all, customer-facing AI agents, right? Customer interactions are inherently dynamic, and that's of course where AI agents excel when they have to talk to people and dynamically decide what to do with a specific conversation, right? So customer-facing agents like chatbots, voice agents, etc. And the second use case, I think, is AI agents inside of these workflow automations, because you can see we actually do have agents inside of this system too, as you can see, but they're part of the workflow, right? And that's, I think, the way we want to use agents mostly if we trying to build production-ready systems for businesses, is by using agents inside of the workflow instead of using agents as the brain of the process, right? The agent in charge or in control of the process, right? So instead of that, we use agents for specific tasks inside of the larger workflow. So for example, agents, what we've found, are really good for these sort of research tasks. So we do use them inside of the sort of workflow. And of course, we've all seen the coding agents like Lovable, etc. Those are, of course, very interesting use cases for AI agents too. But I'm talking specifically for these kinds of systems. Now, another thing we learned is this kind of architecture we're using more and more, right? Basically, what we have is a webhook that gets triggered every time that human on Airtable takes the next action, right? And basically, we built a very modular system of stringing together lots of these smaller automations. And there's a few big advantages to this sort of structure and setup in our experience. And we're building more and more of our systems like this. Is first of all, it's very easy to iterate and improve on a specific function of the larger workflow without it affecting the rest of the entire workflow. So let's say this first part here is the tech audit or the site audit. If you want to improve and add on top of that specific feature, we can just adjust this without it affecting the entire rest of the workflow, right? And second, it's also a lot easier to add on top of this automation and this system by just adding in new features with new sort of automation workflows here at the end. When we launched our first version here in N8N, we probably had like 25% of this entire workflow, and we slowly added things and improved upon the system by just adding in new features and new automations through client feedback, by working with multiple clients, and through improving the system. And that's again why I think AI automation agencies are in such a good position to eventually build an AI SaaS, right? Because usually good SaaS products are built out of constant feedback from multiple clients, because that's how you actually know how you can build something valuable, right? You can have an idea, of course, to start with, but good products are usually really born out of constant feedback from actual clients, right? And that's why I think automation agencies are in such a good position. So this is just a quick overview of, so let me get into the Airtable. So basically here you can see we have different tabs for sort of the different features of this system. We have the projects here where we can basically define the companies and the URLs we want to do the SEO strategy for, right? And the SEO content generation for. Then we have the tech audit here where we can basically detect any potential issues any of the existing site URLs or content might have that prevents it from ranking on Google. I'll get to this in more detail in a second when I show the example. Then we have the URL classification where we can classify the type of pages basically, and to sort of start the process. So we work from left to right, right? Let's say we want to do a specific product page. We can select it here to start working on that specific page and work upwards to the MOFU and the TOFU from there. Again, I'll show this in more detail in a second. Then we have the product pillar pages, which is basically the bottom funnel. Then we have the middle of the funnel, the top of funnel. We have category pages specifically for e-commerce. And we have resources, which is basically just a list of location codes and language codes, because we can do this SEO strategy and execution for different languages, first of all, and we can also optimize it for specific locations or countries, which we do through the location codes. And then lastly here, we have the product photo shoot where we can basically generate alternative images of products in different environments. We use Comfy UI in the backend to generate product images in different environments. So for example, we have a chair here. We can use this system to generate alternative images of this chair in different environments, which can be useful, of course, when you're using a lot of product images in different kinds of articles to have some alternatives and different images. So let me just show you an example. If I go to projects here, maybe we can stick to the supplement example. I use Now supplements. Maybe we can use that one. Now foods. Right, so all we do is we just copy that URL. We paste it in. Here we can add in the name. Now foods. Right, here we can decide the language we want to do this for. Right, in this case, we're going to do English and the location code. So in this case, we keep it at this one, which is, I think, the US. and English in general. Then we can decide the focus of this company. Is it a product-focused company or a service provider? Now, in this case, of course, it's e-commerce, so it's product. And here we can basically check mark if we want to do a tech audit and if we want to classify. So the tech audit, we generally recommend to do first to basically check if all the existing site content doesn't have any issues that prevents it to rank well on Google. So we just keep this check mark on and we do the classification. And from here, we can basically start the automation, right? And as soon as we click this, the first automations are going to be run. And the first step here is basically to generate a business overview and a customer profile. And this is basically sort of an in-depth overview of what this company does, of the ICP of this company. And this is really important to have because we're going to sort of use this as a base for all the subsequent steps for when we're generating articles and ideas and things like that. We always pass in this information. So we have in these subsequent steps, we have the context around the business and the ICP when generating these new articles, which is very important for the quality, right? And we did the same for strategy, right? So once we have the business overview and customer profile was just generated, as you can see. So you can see it's quite an in-depth sort of overview. So we get family owned from Illinois, US and Canada, founders, product portfolio, ideal customer profile. They target health conscious individuals looking for affordable, high quality natural products, sustainability, technological advancements, right? Company overview, founder's background, product portfolio, ideal customer profile. So you can see it's quite an in-depth sort of summary of the business and the customer profile. And then we have the same from there. With this information, we also generate an overall content strategy plan, which is also going to be used in all the subsequent steps, right? To have the bigger picture and the overall content strategy plan in mind. And this really comes down to prompting, of course, too. And we've highly prompted it towards our strategy, which I explained before, which is sort of that chain logic between bottom, middle of funnel and top of funnel. So you can see broad tofu rationale, chain logic, bofu, mofu, tofu, right? And just generates that sort of overall content strategy with some ideas of different funnel type content. Now this, if I go back to N8N, these two steps are basically two strings inside of this larger workflow automation. So for the business overview, you can see that's this part basically, and we use Perplexity here to generate that business overview and customer profile. And here we have the overall content strategy plan. Now, I'm not going to go over all of this in detail because it would literally take me 4 or 5 hours. And of course, we are selling this product, but I think you get an idea if you want to build something similar. And I think this sort of architecture will also help you build sort of similar projects and products inside of my community. We'll probably cover a little bit more of how we build these systems and how you can do the same. So if you're interested in that, make sure to check it out. But that's basically what happens here. So we got that back, and now we can check if the tech audit is done. And you can see now we got Now Foods here. And basically here we can check if any of the URLs of the website, you can see we get all the URLs here. Actually, I think we limit it for now to 100 just for the demo, but you get all the URLs and you can check if there's any potential thing or technical issue that prevents a page from ranking well on Google, right? So we have the URL inspection where we can just check for the status code of all the URLs, which in this case all seems fine. And we have the on-page report. And now the on-page score is also important to keep in mind for rankability of URLs. So you can see we get on-page reports, we get the meta titles and the title length, and also we'll flag it if the title length, for example, is too long. We get a meta description also with the length, the checks of the H1 tags and the image tags. We get technical issues here, where we can check some other, let me check, find Now Foods, here we go. If we can check if there's any other mistakes, for example, duplicates, broken links, broken resources. If you have a background in SEO, you probably recognize this. And then we can right away see where there might be some issues, which we can adjust. All right, now it seems they are pretty well maintained, so not a lot of issues there. Then we have the page speed, which is also very important for rankability on Google. So we can check the page speed. Also, we'll flag it if a page is too slow. And we also have snippet errors and recommendations. Snippets are basically the little text you see under a link in Google. So there we can basically check if everything's fine there. Again, we're in the wrong one here. No foods. All right, I think it's still in the process of generating this. But here we can also check and get flagged if something might be off here or there's an error. So that's a tech audit. Then we can go to the URL classification, and this is sort of the basis of where we are going to work from. So here we select the bottom funnel pages we want to optimize and create middle of the funnel and top of the funnel content for. So here we can just select the bottom funnel content, which in e-commerce is of course product pages or category pages. So I can just select a few that I want to work on. For example, this looks like a product, apricot oil, whatever that is. So we can just select here product. We can do this one, prebiotic bifido boost powder and omega-3. Right, and maybe we can do one category page. So you can see this is a category page. So lotions and creams, right? Because category pages in e-commerce are of course also bottom funnel content. So now that I've selected these will be automatically added here to the bottom of the funnel. So you can see now in the product pages, you can see these three were added, apricot oil, prebiotic, and the omega-3. It also scraped the existing site content, as you can see here. And the first thing we can do here is optimize the current page to rank better on Google. So we can do that here through an action, which is generate content, and I'll sort of use best practices to try and improve the content to rank better on Google. And of course, in the backend, it does keyword analysis and things like this too, to actually optimize it in the best way possible. So we can first do that. For example, generate content for all three. Now, for the category page that we selected, that one will appear here in category pages. So you can see here, we have the category page, and we can do the same thing where we can optimize that content. Now, in this case, for category pages, we don't do the middle of the funnel on top of the funnel. That makes more sense for the product pages. We can also generate the content here. So if we go back here, now we have generated the new content, right? So you can see here, for example, we get the existing content and the rewritten BOFU copy, right? So this is of course optimized to try and rank it even better. We also get a meta title and a meta description. Now in this demo version, you can't update your website directly with this updated copy, but we sometimes deliver systems that can automatically update this on the client's website right away too. So this is the first step what you can do here. And the next step is to generate middle of the funnel content, right? That sort of naturally links back to this bottom of the funnel content, which is of course what drives the actual conversions for e-commerce, right? So what we can do here is generate MOFU. And if we click here on generate MOFU, it will basically start generating ideas for the middle of the funnel content. So in the meantime, while it's generating that, we can go to the category pages. You can see we did the same for the category page, right? Optimize the content, meta title, and meta description. So if we go to MOFU right now, what you'll see in Now Foods is you see the three products. And for each of the three products, we now have generated some ideas for middle of the funnel content that can link back naturally to this bottom of the funnel content, and where customers might not be able to be about to buy, but are sort of looking to buy. So you can see we get some suggestions here, how to incorporate apricot kernel oil into your daily beauty routine, apricot kernel oil versus other oils, a detailed comparison, the benefits of using this oil. This is hard to pronounce for me, using apricot kernel oil for body care. So we basically get some middle of the funnel content that relates to this topic, right? Of course, when we generate this, it's going to internally link back to these product pages, these bottom funnel content pages. Now we get the same here for the fish oil, right? Maximizing omega-3 absorption, comparing omega-3 resources, fish oil versus algae oil versus flaxseed oil, right? And we get the same here. Solving common digestive issues with prebiotics, etc., etc. So from here, what we can do is basically go and either generate the content for this specific article. And again, right, the human is in charge here. The human can still decide which of these articles they actually want to go ahead with, right? So we have those options, right? We can generate the content and we can take the next step, which is generating the tofu, the top of the funnel content that links back to these articles, right? That is even more of an informational intent type content, right? So if I click here, for example, on this one, a detailed comparison, right? We're going to generate this one and it's still creating more ideas, as you can see. The benefits, let's do that one. Let's do the same here. Let's say this one. And one of these, how to maximize the benefits of your probiotic, generate content. So you'll see now it's going to do, and this takes a bit because it's doing in-depth research. Here's actually where we also use AI agents. So this is also the part where we use some AI agents to do some deep research on specific topics, to do competitor analytics, keyword research, and things like this. So if I go back, you can see here we get research data back first, a research brief. Right, you can see also that it did a competitor analytics, right? So it scraped other websites, search intent analysis, key subtopics, strengths and weaknesses of competitors, content gaps of competitors, key insights, statistics and data of the actual oil, right? So he has enough information, and this is, for example, done also with Perplexity. So we have an agent basically that has access to multiple tools, including Perplexity. So yeah, in detailed sort of research report, unique ranking hypotheses, links cited, etc. Now you can see it generated the content, which is the actual article, right? A detailed comparison, understanding, key properties. You can see it added tables. And this, of course, will be formatted correctly when we actually publish to the website. So it makes a comparison with all these different oils. All right, and you can see it's quite an in-depth article with a conclusion, right? Meta title, it generated a meta description and a slug, right? And now from here, we can then, of course, also push to Webflow. In this case, I connected it to some demo site on Webflow, so we can actually publish it there on Webflow. So if I click this, I'll show you in a second that it automatically adds it to our Webflow. And of course, this will also be automatically linked back to our bottom funnel content, right? So this content will link back when it mentions kernel oil to that product page, right? To drive those conversions, what I said before. So that's it. You can see it did it for the other ones too. I can show you maybe one more. Here we go. All right. Why pure apricot kernel oil deserves a place in your skincare routine. Apparently it's a skincare product. I didn't know. So again, in-depth article, and we can publish it, right? And of course, from here now, we can take the next step, which is actually generating tofu. And we basically do the same thing, right? So if we generate the tofu for this, of course, it will start appearing here with ideas that could link back to this middle of the funnel content, right? And that's now you can start seeing, I think, the sort of strategy behind this system. It's really that bottom-up approach to drive conversion and to have that chain linking always in there, right? Linking back from top of the funnel to middle of the funnel to product pages to actually drive conversions. So let's check it out. So I have to go on this one. You can see we also have these other ones also for here. You can see these are for different types of services, right? So not for products or e-commerce, but for example, for SaaS or service-based solutions. So if we go here, let's see now foods. You can see now we got some ideas for top of the funnel. So the ultimate guide to natural oils for skin and hair care. So you can see in this case, someone might not know about specifically kernel oil or apricot oil, right? So it's more an ultimate guide to natural oils, which of course could mention the apricot oil. And we have some other, how to choose a carrier oil, right? Carrier oils versus essential oils. What's the difference? The history and origins, etc. So we can do the same thing. Let's say the ultimate guide, generate content, and here's the same principle, right? Again, we can publish this to Webflow, to the website right away once it's generated. But you can see it's a constant human in the loop system. And this is what we really found out. Most companies actually want this. And second of all, you still have a lot of control over this system, right? You decide which articles to go ahead with. And again, because SEO, it's not about generating thousands of articles. You do have to sort of progressively add more, especially if you haven't done a lot of articles or SEO in the past. You don't want to come out in month one with thousands of articles. So you want to progress, focus on the ones that work best. Probably start with your best performing products and really try to optimize the funnel for those, and slowly but surely expand on the amount of volume of your content. So you can see we get the research data, the research brief, the ultimate guide to natural oils, competitor URLs, right? Analysis of search intent, key subtopics, etc., etc. So in-depth research on competitors and on the subject, right? To be able to write a good article, right? We get the article, the ultimate guide, right? You can see it already puts in links, right? And of course, one of those links is, of course, linking back to our own product or to our own middle of the funnel content, right? You can see, of course, it mentioned this one and also includes FAQs, etc. Natural oils, meta title, meta description. And of course, now we can also actually publish. And that's it. So the resources section is just for to find sort of the specific location codes, right, for your specific country. That's all this section is. And the same for the language codes. Then we have the product photo shoot. As I said, we built this in Comfy UI, which is basically sort of an N8N for images, audio, and video. So you can build your own workflows for complex image, video, and audio generation. It's quite interesting. I can show you quickly Comfy UI. All right, so you can see, it's basically a no-code way to build so workflows for complex image generation and also video and audio. So maybe I can show you a quick example of one of the products there. So I can go, let's say, Now Foods, just pick a random product. So let's take this one. We just save the image. Right, we can upload it here. Right, and here we can prompt what we want to do with the image. Right, so let's say put the bottle in a flower garden, whatever. So then we can click here on run. Oh, sorry, run. Right, now this takes a few minutes. We actually hosted this model, this image generator model, also on Replicate. So I'll make sure to share this link with you so you can actually try out this image model yourself and use it yourself. All you have to do is sign up to Replicate. Maybe you have to upload some credits, a few dollars, and then you can use our image generator model too. So I'll make sure to put it in the description below. But it's quite interesting. There's Comfy UI workflows. I made a quick picture here of what we built there, and you can see it gets complex quite quick, but it's very interesting. You can sort of build these workflows for complex image generation. So this takes a few minutes. In the meantime, maybe I can show you that it actually posted it on the website. Now, I made a very quick Webflow website just to show you for the demo that it can actually publish. Now, it's going to look really bad because I've done zero editing or design on this website, but you can see it actually posts it. Of course, the table looks really bad. You can all do this better when you actually design your website properly on Webflow. But I just wanted to show you that it actually publishes it. Right, so is there anything else? One thing I think I forgot to mention is it also does keyword research, right? And especially here, this MoFu type content, you can see here, it also does keyword research, right? And we use an API a lot in this entire N8N system, which is called Data for SEO. And Data for SEO, if you want to build systems like this, it's one of the best APIs you'll find. Because they can do a lot, right? SERP API, keywords data API, and literally it can almost replace a lot of these very expensive SEO tools like SEMrush and things like this. So highly recommend checking this out if you want to try and build a system like this for yourself, Data for SEO. So if I go to the N8N, just to round this up, basically what you'll see is sort of this first part here is the tech audit, right? Then we have the bottom of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, the top of funnel, and the image generation and the publishing to Webflow. That's sort of how this is structured. Now, again, I didn't go through everything in detail, of course, because you can see this is extremely long, but I think this architecture of solutions, we're using this now for other builds. We're building similar types of solutions, really large workflows that can automate, entire job functions almost. And we're almost always now using this sort of architecture, which I think is really, really interesting to experiment with. So let's go back to the SEO. Let's check if the image is ready. Yes, it is. So here, now we get the output here. Looks pretty good actually. And then it upscales it too. So it makes the image basically nicer. You can see it's a pretty nice image. Now these are definitely still sort of experimental workflows, but you can see that, you can get some really solid results out of this. So yeah, if you want to experiment it with yourself, I'll make sure to put the replicate link in the description below. So if I go back to the presentation, let me just finish it off with explanation on why I believe AI automation agencies are in such a good position to capitalize and eventually maybe transition into a SaaS. So let me explain what I mean with that. So basically, I've just tried to visualize it a bit. This might make intuitive sense to you already, but I still see many people trying to, especially non-technical people, learning the technology in these no-code platforms for the first time. Their first intuition is to jump into a SaaS right away because they might not be that interested in actually building an agency. For many people, I know an agency might not be the most interesting business model in at first thought because generally in the past, historically also, you can mostly scale an agency through human resource, and many people might not be that interested in building a huge agency with lots of employees. But I actually think it's one of the best paths to actually create something more scalable in the long run. Now, why do I believe that? It's because when you're doing an AI automation agency, you'll work, first of all, with multiple clients and companies, and you'll do these custom projects for different clients. But what you'll see once you start doing that is you'll identify projects or solutions that you implement for specific companies that could be transferable to other companies in that same industry and could solve a pain point for them too, right? And if you've identified a few of those, what we do generally is we try to pitch that same solution as when we think that solution could also solve an issue or a problem for another business in that industry. We basically pitch that to that other client we have and say, hey, we've built this for this company. Is this something you are interested in? And many times these companies actually are. So the big upside of that, of course, is we've already built the project or the solution, and now we just have to customize it a bit, integrate it into their softwares and into their processes and workflows. Of course, there's still some customization involved, but because we've built it before, it's a lot faster for us to implement, right? And what works really well too, to sort of find these types of solutions that you can sort of reuse across companies, is to share what you've built on social media, and you'll see that some other companies might have the same need or interest, and they'll reach out to you for that specific project. And that's how you can sort of move specific solutions you've built from very custom for each business into more of a productized solution, right? Into the next funnel, which of course it still requires customization, but you've pre-built it and it becomes a bit more scalable, right? And especially if you identify these high ROI solutions for specific industry, you might really want to try that to make it more scalable in the long run. Of course, when you have a productized service and you're going to implement it into multiple companies, you're also able to optimize and refine the solution based on feedback from multiple companies, meaning you can make the solution even better. And eventually what you can do is standardize the solution even more, so it requires less customization for each client, and then you can potentially move it into an even more scalable sort of product or solution, which we call the service as a software model, which is what we've done with our SEO solution. Of course, we sold a lot of these sort of custom SEO solutions to many companies in the beginning, and slowly but surely we noticed that we can standardize the system while maintaining really high value to the customer. So that's where you can move into that next one. Now, of course, the service as a software, the one I just showed, our SEO solution, it still requires some upfront customization, but it requires a lot less customization than a productized service. And once you've done that upfront customization, it can mostly be self-served by the customer. Right now, from there, of course, when you start working with more and more customers. Again, you get more and more feedback to improve the system and standardize it even more. And eventually you can decide to turn it into a full-blown SaaS where you remove any customization work from the process and or transfer any customization necessary to the client, to the user interface, right? And that's how you sort of can make automation projects and an automation agency slowly but surely into a more scalable product or solution. And I think it's one of the most interesting ways to actually build a SaaS, because good products and good SaaS products are usually the result of constant feedback, iteration, and improvement. And especially if you can work with multiple clients across maybe even different industries, which we did with the SEO solution, you get a lot of feedback that other people might not have to optimize a solution and build a solution that really has value, even if it's a self-serve solution. So those are really the big advantages, I think, of this sort of AI agency, AI automation agency to SaaS. You get constant client feedback to improve the system. You have proven market fit, right? Because you've already implemented it for multiple companies. You have immediate case studies. So you already have testimonials and people tried it out. So you already have that. There's also lower risk because you're not putting all your bets on an idea. You're already generating revenue from clients, even though you're customizing it, but you're not making a big bet and investing a lot of money in a solution that you don't know will work yet, right? And that's the last one, scalability without guesswork. You refine and standardize before transitioning into a software, ensuring smoother growth. And of course, during this time, you can also sort of find out your go-to-market strategy to know how you can actually market this SaaS, which is one of the big factors to actually making a SaaS successful. So that's just my take. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Anyway, this is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you got any value out of this, I highly appreciate it if you can like and subscribe. And if you're interested in building an AI automation agency or an AI business, also you can consider joining my community where we try to help people start their AI business and learn AI automation from the beginning, even if you're a non-technical or non-coder. I am not a coder. I've learned all of this in probably less than a year and a half. So if you're interested in something like this, you can consider my community. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.